For decades, appendix cancer was a footnote in medical textbooks. It was considered an exceptionally rare diagnosis, something most doctors would never encounter in their entire careers. When it did appear, it almost exclusively affected older adults, typically those well past the age of 60. The medical community viewed it as a random, unfortunate occurrence with little predictable pattern. This historical rarity meant it was not on the radar for most clinicians, especially when evaluating younger patients who presented with common abdominal complaints. The prevailing wisdom was that stomach pain in a young person was far more likely to be something benign, like indigestion, or at worst, a case of simple appendicitis that could be resolved with surgery. However, a subtle but deeply concerning shift is now underway, challenging everything we thought we knew about this disease. Recent data reveals a dramatic and alarming increase in the incidence of appendix cancer, particularly among younger people. A landmark study published just this year in the Annals of Internal Medicine highlighted that the rate has tripled, and in some demographics, even quadrupled, for individuals born after the 1970s compared to their grandparents' generation. This is not a small statistical fluctuation. It is a significant and undeniable trend that is forcing us to reconsider the profile of the typical patient and the underlying causes of this malignancy. This phenomenon is not isolated. It is part of a much broader and more mystifying global trend of rising early-onset cancers. Researchers have noted similar increases in other gastrointestinal cancers, including colorectal, stomach, and pancreatic cancers, as well as breast and ovarian cancers. A comprehensive 2024 study in The Lancet documented this widespread pattern, suggesting a common thread may link these seemingly disparate diseases. The fact that so many different types of cancer are appearing more frequently in those under 50 points away from simple genetic inheritance and towards something more complex and pervasive happening in our modern environment and lifestyles over the past several decades. Today, approximately 1/3 of all appendix cancer diagnoses are made in adults younger than 50. This is a staggering statistic that has sent ripples of concern through the oncology community. This proportion is much higher than what we see for many other types of gastrointestinal cancers, signaling that something unique may be influencing the appendix in younger populations. This demographic transformation means that what was once an old-age disease is now a real and present threat to people in their 30s and 40s, individuals in the prime of their lives, building careers and raising families. The old assumptions are no longer valid, and we must adapt our thinking to meet this new reality. To understand appendix cancer, we first need to look at the appendix itself. It's a small, finger-shaped pouch that projects from the large intestine on the lower right side of the abdomen. For years, its function was a mystery, and it was often dismissed as a vestigial organ with no real purpose. However, more recent research suggests it may play a role in the immune system and act as a storage site for beneficial gut bacteria. Appendix cancer begins when healthy cells in the appendix mutate and grow out of control, forming a tumor. These tumors can be of different types, ranging from slow-growing neuroendocrine tumors to more aggressive adenocarcinomas. The primary challenge with appendix cancer is its stealthy nature. The symptoms are notoriously vague and often mimic those of much more common, less serious conditions. A person might experience intermittent and mild abdominal pain, a feeling of bloating, subtle changes in their bowel habits, or occasional nausea. In some cases, a doctor might feel a palpable mass during a physical exam, but this is not common. Because these symptoms are so nonspecific, they are frequently dismissed by both patients and doctors as signs of stress, dietary issues, or other routine gastrointestinal upset. This lack of clear, alarming signs allows the cancer to grow undetected. This difficulty in early detection leads to a startling fact. The vast majority of appendix cancer cases are discovered by accident. The most common scenario involves a patient who goes to the emergency room with severe abdominal pain, believed to be acute appendicitis. Surgeons perform an appendectomy, the standard procedure to remove the inflamed appendix. It is only afterward, when the removed tissue is sent to a pathology lab for routine analysis, that the cancer is found. This incidental discovery means that the diagnosis often comes as a complete shock, and unfortunately, it can sometimes be at a more advanced stage than if it had been caught earlier. Compounding this diagnostic challenge is the absence of any routine screening test for appendix cancer. Unlike colonoscopies for colorectal cancer or mammograms for breast cancer, there is no established method to regularly check for tumors in the appendix. Its small size and location make it difficult to visualize clearly with standard imaging techniques like ultrasound or even CT scans, unless a tumor has grown large enough to become obvious. This lack of a screening protocol, combined with its historical rarity, has left us without a reliable way to proactively search for the disease, making incidental findings our primary method of diagnosis. The sharp increase in appendix cancer among young adults has left experts puzzled and urgently searching for explanations. The speed of this change suggests that genetics alone are unlikely to be the primary driver. Instead, researchers are focusing on a complex interplay of environmental and lifestyle factors that have shifted dramatically since the mid-20th century. The leading hypothesis is that changes in how we live, what we eat, and what we are exposed to are fundamentally altering our biology in ways that increase our risk for certain cancers at a younger age. This multifactorial puzzle requires looking at many different aspects of modern life. One of the most prominent suspects is the Western diet, which is characterized by media group, processed food on grocery store shelf, young adults eating fast food at a table, sugary drinks and burgers on tray, at stock at distribute _equally, high consumption of processed foods, sugary drinks, red meat, unhealthy fats, while being low in media group, empty produce section in supermarket, person looking disappointed at empty salad bar at stock, at distribute _equally, fiber, fruits, and vegetables. This dietary pattern has been linked to inflammation and changes in the gut microbiome. At the same time, rates of obesity and sedentary lifestyles have soared since the 1970s. Excess body weight is a known risk factor for many cancers, as it can promote chronic inflammation and hormonal imbalances. The combination of a poor diet and lack of physical activity creates a powerful cocktail that could be fueling the growth of these early-onset malignancies. Beyond diet and exercise, scientists are investigating a host of environmental exposures. We now live in a world saturated with chemicals that did not exist a century ago. Increased exposure to microplastics, which are found in our water, air, and food, is a growing concern. The chemicals used in industrial food production, from pesticides to preservatives, may also play a role. Even changes in our water quality are being scrutinized. These environmental factors could be acting as carcinogens or endocrine disruptors, subtly altering cellular processes over time and increasing the risk of cancer, especially with lifelong exposure starting from a young age. Another critical area of research is the gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria and other microbes living in our digestive tract. Widespread antibiotic use, both in human medicine and in agriculture to promote livestock growth, is known to alter the delicate balance of these microbes. Some studies suggest that exposure to antibiotics, particularly early in life, could have long-term consequences for immune function and cancer risk. The theory is that disrupting the natural microbial ecosystem in the gut could compromise its ability to fight off inflammation or eliminate precancerous cells, potentially paving the way for a tumor to develop in the appendix or elsewhere in the digestive system. Given the challenges in detection, the most powerful tools we currently have against the rising tide of appendix cancer are vigilance and awareness. It is crucial for both patients and doctors to change their mindset. Persistent or unusual abdominal symptoms, especially in individuals under 50, should no longer be automatically dismissed. While most cases will still be benign, the possibility of an underlying malignancy must be considered. Patients should feel empowered to advocate for themselves and seek further investigation if symptoms like chronic bloating, unexplained pain, or changes in bowel function do not resolve. Similarly, physicians must maintain a higher index of suspicion and consider more thorough diagnostic workups for these cases. While there is no guaranteed way to prevent appendix cancer, adopting a healthy lifestyle can significantly lower your overall cancer risk. Experts strongly recommend focusing on general cancer prevention strategies that have proven benefits. This includes maintaining a healthy weight through a combination of diet and regular physical activity. Eating a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains provides essential nutrients and fiber that support a healthy gut. It is also important to limit the consumption of processed foods, sugary beverages, and red meat. These simple, proactive steps can have a profound impact on your long-term health. In addition to diet and exercise, other lifestyle choices are critical for cancer prevention. Avoiding tobacco in all its forms is one of the single most effective things you can do to reduce your cancer risk. Limiting alcohol consumption is also advised, as alcohol is a known carcinogen linked to several types of cancer. These are not new recommendations, but they take on a renewed sense of urgency in the face of rising early-onset cancers. By taking control of these modifiable risk factors, individuals can actively participate in protecting their own health and potentially reversing the concerning trends we are now witnessing across the globe. Ultimately, turning the tide will require a two-pronged approach: a commitment to further research and a broad campaign to raise public awareness. Scientists must continue to investigate the precise causes behind this silent surge to develop targeted prevention strategies and eventually better screening tools. At the same time, we need to educate the public and the medical community about this emerging threat. The sooner a diagnosis is made, the better the chances for a successful outcome. By working together, we can demystify this once rare disease and ensure that future generations are better equipped to face it.